thank you very much for taking some time to speak with us today.
My pleasure.
Before we get into Constellation and Growing Up Cuddy and the Jim Cuddy Band on tour, which are all very exciting things you have going on, we have one question to begin. As twins, Pull Me Through was always one of our favorite songs, and it was the anthem that Canada cried to during the Winter Olympics because it was the soundtrack to Tessa and Scott's 20-year career story. How did you react when CBC did that really emotional retrospective?
We sat through the whole ice dance thing, right? So it was long. And then when Scott and Tessa did their thing, it was just truly one of the best Olympic moments I've ever had. But right afterwards, they had a little montage where people were speaking about them. And I thought, well, that's it. They just didn't use the song, no problem. So I left the room, and then my daughter called, they're using it. And I came down and I saw it. The song is about losing somebody, but I liked the way they used the aspect of how loyal they were to each other. You could always pull me through. I mean, I felt it as emotional as anybody, and I was glad it was my song.
You've spoken about Constellation and said that it's tempered with some feelings of loss, love, friendship, and some pain that you've experienced. Can you speak to us about the feelings of writing Constellation and how that was different than some of your previous albums? When
I write for my own records, I write just at the time that I need the songs. I don't ever want there to be an overlap with Blue Rodeo, to ever feel like I'm holding a song back. So I really just end up writing about what has happened to me in the previous 18 months, 2 years. You know, it's not only about loss, because as you get older, you say a lot of goodbyes. But if it's all about loss, then what the hell is fun about life? Well, I think there's a lot of love and constancy and people that are in your life that you're so grateful for. So I think for me, it's a very unconscious balancing act. I don't think about it. I just write what I feel I want to write about. And then in the end, I look and I see what I've done.
Did you learn anything about yourself in the production of the album?
Well, that's an interesting question. I guess I'm lucky that I participate in making art because I have to recalibrate myself every 3 or 4 years as I write songs. I mean, this is a different time of life for me. I'm less connected to my youth than I'm connected to my future. There's a lot of reckoning that goes along with that. I think you just learn where you are in life.
Can you talk to us about the duality of emotions that you carry on stage, the excitement of having the boys with you while performing some of these songs that bring back some hard memories?
You put a story in every song, and so then that's the story you visit when you sing the song. Having the boys there is like having a fresh view of it all, because we're very experienced musicians, the people in my band, and the boys are learning that. So it's been really interesting to watch them learn. It's been fun for me just in a personal sense to have them there, because you know, I sort of spend my mornings exercising and then I get them up at noon and we go for lunch. And I like the social aspect of it. I like the way that they view the world.
What is that feeling like as a father to see your boys following in your footsteps but also carving their own path at the same time?
Yeah, I think definitely carving their own path. It's been interesting to watch them develop a professional work ethic. It's one thing to do it one night and 2 nights. It's a whole other thing to do it 50 nights. Sometimes you don't feel like you want to get all that enthusiastic, but you have to because that's what you do for a living. And also enjoy it. I mean, it's not a task. You know, it's not putting up drywall. It's a good thing to have to do 50 times. When I was conceiving this tour, I hoped that they felt like they were not here just because they were my sons. I hope that they felt they were here as featured artists, that people would listen to them and the songs they'd written and the way they presented them. It seems like that's the way that people are appreciating them. So I'm appreciative that they're here. I don't know that this will happen again.
In addition to Constellation and the Jim Cuddy Band on tour, you've also started the YouTube series Growing Up Cuddy.
We did it all so quickly, I'd forgotten all about it. And then somebody said, well, you got a YouTube series. I was like, what?
And an element of the YouTube series that we thought was very sweet was that you thought it was important to instill music in their lives.
It's one of the triumphs of our parenting. We made our kids take piano lessons till they were 16.
Except not me. You made me take it until I graduated. You said the rule has changed.
I wanted them to understand what it was like to make music. I think that there's a number of languages you need to learn to be able to speak. You need to be able to do something physical. You need to be able to do academics. You need to understand how these languages operate in the world. And music is an important one. They don't complain about it now. They did at the time.
So in touring together, you've said that you've watched Sam and Devin develop a work ethic. You get to do Growing Up Cuddy and reflect on what it was like growing up as a family. Is there anything that you're learning about your boys now?
There's things I've always known about them, but it's reinforced. You know, my eldest son has the kind heart, and even though he's the harshest of the two, and the youngest is the smart mouth, which I relate to because I was like that when I was young. I see their hearts, and I think they're both intact, and it's nice for me.
We always like to ask people that we interview to sum something up in 3 words, something that we're discussing. But we know that for you, the first line of a song is very important. So we'll leave it up to you if you'd like to choose 3 words or in 1 line. Could you describe 2018 for you so far and 2018 looking forward?
2018 has been about family and celebration and sickness, because we had terrible sickness on the bus that I brought on the bus. So yeah, that's been 2018. In family and musical celebration, if I can combine that as one word, and sickness.
Well, thank you very much for taking time to sit down with us. We greatly appreciate it, and we enjoyed talking Tessa and Scott, Constellation, and Growing Up Cuddy.
It's very nice to talk to you too. Thank you.
Out on the lawn, looking at the constellations. Pick a star, give it your name.